Beyond more master levels, more multiplayer game modes, more demons, the return of snap map, horde mode, more slayer gates, and just more content in general, something I've noticed getting talked about more and more on my channel anyways, is the prospect of mouse and keyboard being supported on console for Doom Eternal, or the idea of crossplay being introduced into the game. And today I wanted to explore those two topics and have a little bit of a discussion, see what you guys think about all this. Now, once battle mode is brought into this question, hence the reason why crossplay is even brought up to begin with, I think we can all understand why any of these two options would be an instant resounding hell no from the developers, with mouse and keyboard allowing a pretty distinguishable advantage for whoever's on it. In a game like Call of Duty or Apex Legends, I'd say in those games it really doesn't matter as much as to what platform you're on, as in those games I've noticed console players have been able to beat some who are on mouse and keyboard, while other times mouse and keyboard take the victory. I think in situations like this, where you're more or less on an even playing field, it really boils down to experience with the tools at your disposal, and of course reflexes must play a role in that as well. I mean, sure, yeah, you can bring up the argument of aim assist on controller or pinpoint accuracy with mouse and keyboard, or easier fine movement control on PC as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and just jump over that. If you guys want to spark that heated debate down below, feel free, have at it, but I'm not gonna touch on it. Now, if you're new to the channel and didn't know this, I actually started off on console. I beat the game on Ultra Nightmare mode, doing all the challenges, earning almost everything, and slowly I've been making the transition to PC. Now, going purely off of gameplay from anybody, not just me, I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I mean, I'm just pounding away at the keyboard and shit's happening. But you can tell Doom Eternal provides an even bigger advantage for those who are on PC, with all kinds of customizable keys on keyboard, or if you got a good mouse with enough buttons, you can map pretty much your entire weapon wheel to all the buttons on your mouse, basically letting PC players cycle through their entire Slayer arsenal in a matter of seconds, while on console, you gotta pre-select 2 weapons to swap from before entering any fight. Then if you want to get a little crazy, you gotta deal with this goddamn weapon wheel, which this thing by itself has been the sole factor of many Slayers deaths. I mean, mine at least. This is primarily due to moving too fast and their weapon wheel selection not registering. And speaking personally, I've heard some other people mention this as well in the Discord, it feels like after this last update, it's a little less responsive on console, which sucks ass. Hopefully it's just user errors on our part and that's not actually a problem going on, but if you guys experience that as well, let me know. And technically speaking, for console, quick switching just isn't meant to be on that platform. Almost all the buttons are taken, and the one that's not, maybe once the DLC drops, as we know a new ability is coming, and I'm hedging my bets that that final slot may finally be occupied. So crossplay between console and PC will probably never happen unless mouse and keyboard is supported on the platform, but even then, we'd be forgetting that all the way up until now, battle mode on PC and console have been getting tweaked and adjusted differently, with the latest updates seeing slight nerfs to the Slayer on PC and slight buffs to him on console. Plus, damage by and on certain demons are different between both platforms. It'll require a pretty drastic, or at least a bigger update than we're expecting, than just id Software coming out and saying, hey, you can now plug in your mouse and keyboard to your console and everything is working fine. So it may be harder for PC and console to step foot in the same arena, but what about crossplay between the PS4 and Xbox? Now, historically, something like this rests on the devs and the platforms themselves. Back in 2017, or at least I think it was 2017, Fortnite had crossplay for all platforms with the exclusion of PlayStation for a while, as Sony didn't want to play nice with other companies. I think crossplay would definitely benefit Doom Eternal, helping both bring the community together from both platforms and helping increase the player pool that battle mode can draw from, but it may ultimately just be up to Sony and Microsoft, and behind closed doors the idea might have been pitched, as crossplay has been growing in popularity and it was just decided to close the platforms off to just themselves. Or it may have just never been considered, as the game is primarily single player based and it just wants to focus on the solo experience, with them announcing DLC being prioritized over invasion mode. And well, if that's the case, fine. What about mouse and keyboard support for console, at least for single player only, so that those who are on the platform can experience Doom Eternal in its full glory as it's intended to be? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm 100% behind mouse and keyboard support on console, however, I don't know if that'll ever come to fruition. And here's why, battle mode aside. Going from console to PC back to console, the game feels slower in general. Playing on Ultra Nightmare, I feel like even though the difficulty is the same and the only noticeable difference between the two is console's inability to quick swap, I feel like on console I have a solid second or two to respond than I would have on PC. That's just what I feel. And I'm sure just based off the gameplay you can tell which gameplay is from what, but there may not even be a difference whatsoever, and it could just be a lazy ass excuse for lack of support. And remember, this isn't coming from a PC player's mouth. I started on PlayStation, and even now I feel like an Ultra Nightmare run goes better for me on console than PC. I'm just accustomed to console still, I guess. Maybe it's due to PC having to juggle so much more, or muscle memory of a controller and not not really having to do much with the flow of the game and how enemies really react. But either way, I'd suggest with the support of mouse and keyboard, if it ever does come to console, to bring alongside that the addition of a harder mode than just Ultra Nightmare. Now, what that mode might entail, I have no clue, but with how Ultra Nightmare goes for me now on controller, it'll be a breeze with mouse and keyboard on console. And maybe going from single player to battle mode with mouse and keyboard, have those players either automatically playing with other mouse and keyboard players on console, or if crossplay is enabled, link those players up with PC. Or just have the game boot you out of battle mode altogether. Maybe it just won't support mouse and keyboard in that game mode for those who are playing on console. But I want to hear from you. If you've played on console and PC, is it just me that feels like the game runs a little slower in its flow on console? Or do you feel like that as well? How do you think crossplay would work, or even if it would ever work? What about mouse and keyboard being supported on console? Let's talk about this stuff. Maybe we could find a nice middle ground and send this out to id Software. I want to take this moment to thank all you guys for watching. If you guys haven't joined the Discord yet, the link to that is down in the description. As I've been saying lately, it's a good way to find other people to play battle mode with, regardless of what platform you're on, or even other games. It's not even just Doom right now. Just talking games general, or other forms of media, trying to deal with quarantine going on right now. But I look forward to seeing you guys there. My name is Cynic. Thank you all so much for watching. But until next time, my friends, I will see you all later.